All right, let's talk about page 17 and 18, and it's called factoring perfect square trinomials. And there's only 6 on page 17, which looks really easy. And then you turn the page, and they have several more that are a bit more challenging. So let's first talk about a simple one, and then we'll talk about a couple that are on the back of the page. With these, I'll show you how the long way of doing it is we just factor it, and again, remember in the FOIL method. So we say, okay, x and x, I know that. This should be 7 and 7. So give me 49. And then that would give me 7x plus 7x is 14x. Now, that's doing it the long way. They want us to write our answer in this shortcut format. So it's this binomial square. It's called a perfect square. Notice in this pattern that the first term, the square root of the first term is x, the square root of the last term is 7, and if you multiply that times 2, you get the middle term here. So that's the clue that this is a perfect square. So let's look at this one. What's the square root of this? Well, that would be 3x. The square root of this is 4y. So if I multiply 2 times 3x times 4y, let's see what I get. 3 times 4 is 12, 12 times 2, so 24 xy, bingo, that's what we have right there, okay? So this means I should end up with just one parentheses and the quantity squared. All right, now if you find it easier to just go ahead and write it like this, have at it, okay? Because this will give you the right answer. And now you can see that, oh yeah, I need this to be negative in the middle. So if I make both of these negative, then this final 16y squared will be positive, because a negative times a negative is always a positive. But notice that both of these are going to be the same. So you can write it in one parentheses and square it. Now I chose one other challenging one here because we do have to factor out a common factor. So we look at all of these and say, oh yeah, I can factor out 9. And then I'm left with x squared plus 6xy plus 9y squared. Do not try to just do these in your head, okay? Students always think, oh, I'll save some time and I'll save some paper by doing it in my head. Write it out. Even as a teacher, I have to write this out. Take common factor out. Now you can inspect what's left. And your goal is to try to come up with a quantity squared. Well, you can easily take the square root of this. That should go here. If you take the square root of this and put that here, and then just think about 2 times this should give you the middle term. It looks like it'll work, okay? So the square root of this and the square root of this go here. You have to look at it to figure out whether it should be a plus or a minus. Remember, this one over here was a minus. So it's a pattern, okay? And once you get the hang of it, these aren't too bad. They're not too tricky, but some of them will take a little bit of thinking, and you might have to play around with it a little bit to get the right answer. But I hope you do well on this page, all right?